The Panini Senior Bowl continues to march on as the premier college all-star game in that pre-draft cycle, and everything Drew Fabianich and crew are doing are helping it continue that direction. Though, if you listen to yesterday's episode with Eric Galco, which I encourage you to do when you're done with this one, of course, that East-West game is making their attempt at being on that same level. But for now, the Senior Bowl is it, and Drew is the guy in charge of it. We check in with Drew today down in Mobile and talk about everything that happened in this 2025 college season, everything on the outlook for the Senior Bowl, and all that is going on down in Mobile. Neil joins Drew and I. We'll get into that in just a moment. Before you do, make sure you head over, like, subscribe, and share this podcast wherever you were listening and watching, whether it's on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or that video portion over on YouTube. Make sure you hit those buttons. Most importantly, share this one with a friend. Whether you are an agent, player, coach, anybody in the football world, scouts especially, there's going to be something in here for you, and make sure you're sharing it with somebody else who can get something out of it. We want to continue to bring you behind the scenes, again, the real information from the football world that is often forgotten about, but so important to the game of football. So whether it's Neil, whether it's I, whether it is Drew or Eric or any of our great guests, make sure you hit them up as well. While you are at it, give us a follow on social medias. I am Rodrik David at RightStepADV is where you can find me. rsafootball.com is my website where you can read all about my background, my history, perhaps get in touch as well. Neil Stratton joins. He is at Inside the League. InsideTheLeague.com is where you can find him. All the links for those sites are in the show notes, so make sure you check those out. While you're out there surfing around, make sure you check out thescoutingcommunity.com if you are a scout or aspiring scout. Spots for both of you, exclusive for each of you, helping you in every spot that you may need help. The unofficial union for NFL scouts and the spot to help aspiring scouts actually get jobs, not just get certificates. So make sure you check that out, and check out our partner over at blumaka.com, BLUMAKA.com. Use code SCOUTING20 while you're there to make sure you let them know we sent you and get a little discount while you're at it. The insoles that as soon as you put them in your shoes, they are going to improve your performance. Should be a part of every package agents are putting out there with their players as they get ready for testing, training, and everything else they're doing. That non-slip insole will improve performance as soon as you put it in there. And then get the recovery ones and that turf toe insole with that carbon fiber split toe as well. Make sure you have those Blue Maka insoles ready to go when you get out on it. And as we continue to head to the holiday season, make sure you're checking us out, following us with guests, scouting information, talking about some running backs here soon, and as well as more and more players with some of our great guests. So make sure you check out everything we are doing here on Scouting the League. But with that, let's get into it today with Drew. All right, well, Drew, welcome back to Scouting the League. Last time we had you on, we were at the end of August. We were just getting ready for the 2025 season to officially kick off. A few things have happened. Few games have been played. Few prospects invited and accepted to the Senior Bowl. What has really stood out for you this 2025 college season, either on the work side with what you're doing with the Panini Senior Bowl now, or just in general with college football?
Well, I was warned a little bit about being the unofficial mayor of Mobile, but I had no idea that I really am the unofficial mayor of Mobile. Whether it's 3 or 4 civic functions every single week, I'm there. Every event, I'm there. There's a lot of shaking hands and kissing babies. Did not know it would be this expensive. I still want to watch, ball, still want to do my job, but I understand the piece of this and how important this game is to this community. And it kind of shows just by how interested they am in everything I do and everything I say. One guy came in, he said, hey, I heard you're doing a good job. He said, because there hadn't been any complaints. I said, don't worry, there will be. I said, everybody's going to complain at some point.
Yeah.
I think the change in this schedule, I think, has been really beneficial for everybody that has actually looked at it. And they said kudos, they love the idea of it. That's one piece of it. I think delaying the invites, I think, was also a very good move, because I don't want to be a distraction to the player. I don't want to be a distraction to the coach. And, again, that's just the old ball coaching me where, hey, the regular season's over with. Here's the boxes. And there's only been one spot that has not given out their boxes. One school, that's it. And even the ones in the playoffs have been giving them out this week, especially the ones that have the bye.
Right.
Even the ones that don't have a bye gave them out at the end of last week. So I think they're more comfortable with it. And I didn't want them to be sitting around and then I'm having to call everybody or getting everybody on my staff to go, hey, did you get our invites out? Did you get the invites out? I mean, it kind of hit it right at the right time. And most of them had them 12 days ago. And we're up to about 85 acceptances right now. So I think that's really kind of helped that a little bit. And I don't know how it worked for Phil or Jim in the past, but it was amazing how fast some of them, came back. I mean, the kid from Arkansas, Tim Ball, he was like, what did I have to think about? He did it in like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you just got the box, And he was like, well, I knew I was coming, I went to Clemson, last week, and TJ Parker wasn't there. And I called TJ, and he had it done in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, man, he said, you don't even have to, you don't have to ask, And I was like, sweet. They just got married, and, he's not going to play in the bowl game, and, he's from Phoenix City. I mean, he was jacked up.
Yeah.
And I think he knew that this is big for him. There's some guys that I recruited personally that I think we're also going to get that are going to be huge. I mean, just huge. So, I'm pleased with it. I really am. And I think it's going to kind of go the way I kind of expected it to go. But it's been kind of tedious the last few weeks. And you guys know because of every agent thinks he's got a guy that's good enough to play in the Senior Bowl, and they don't.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's the best of the best will be coming down to Mobile, and again, I'd imagine the as we're talking now is we're 65 are up on the website, and I'd imagine by the time we get off this podcast, you're probably going to have a couple missed calls, couple of texts you get to respond to as they continue to roll in, and again, everybody, it's always one of those narratives like the quarterback class was going to be the greatest thing ever. And now we actually know where it's at. And everybody's like, oh, this is going to be a really down draft. All-star games are going to be a little weak this year. No, they're not. They're going to be really good all-star games. It's going to be top talent as it is every year. Again, the narratives go all over the place. And again, the patience and getting to this point where you actually start to see it fill out. You start going through the names and it's like, oh, wow, there's some dudes here. There's going to be some really good players. Again, obviously a bunch of high round draft picks, and we'll talk about those players here in just a little bit. A couple we want to hit on. Biggest challenge again. It's got to be tough. Again, being the mayor of Mobile unofficially, again doing all that, but still watching ball, still getting around, getting boots on the ground, getting out to practices, seeing everybody. Again, how. Probably have to give huge props to Molly for keeping your schedule clean and exactly where it needs to be, because I can imagine you have a few conflicts come out. But has just the scheduling and being able to keep football on your plate, has that been the biggest challenge for you?
Yeah, it has. And, I'm lucky to have all the experience that I've got, working outside of this building also. The scouting system did a great job. Jack Gilmore does a great job. I mean, Jackson Rubin and Michael Newsom and the scouting assistants, they do a great job evaluating. But the 10 guys that are out there, to do this part-time, there's, I'm going to say over 200 years of experience, probably minimum. The guys that are out there working, and they do a great job. And, for me, it's I wanted to see everybody that I could. And I saw everybody we invited. I saw more than we invited, but did I see everybody? No, I did not have time for that. I'm not going to BS anybody and say, no, I didn't, because, Molly runs my life. And, it's like, okay, can you do this? Yeah, I can. Then you no, I can't. Some of the things I have to back away from just a little bit, just because I do need to spend time. Because when these agents call me, I don't want to sit there and not know who the hell I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be well versed in what the player is, because again, some of these guys say, well, he doesn't need to get. Yeah, he does. Okay. Because you think he's a second rounder, he's not. He's a third. So I want to be able to speak with some kind of conviction and be educated enough to show them and to talk to them about it, because some of these guys I haven't dealt with before. Some of them I have, and the ones I have dealt with before, I mean, it's been great. You know, I don't blow smoke. I don't play games. And the thing is, I watched all these guys, so that's one thing I can do. I can say, I know what this player's about, and I know what he is.
Yeah.
So it has been hard, but I'll tell you what, having PFF available right after the game, I mean, and just here's 65 snaps. Here we go. Used to be where you'd have to wait for it, you'd have to download it. I mean, when it's there next day, when I'm watching something on Saturday and I see a flag, I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
And that's my cycle in my head. It was like Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And it was like, by the time I got to Monday, I knew exactly where I felt about a lot of guys. And again, it falls on me. So I have to be responsible enough to do it. And again, did I see everything? But I saw damn sure a lot of them.
Drew, given the fact that we're a little later in the process than maybe we have been the last few years for the invitations and what have you, we're probably a little farther along the agent process too. And let's be honest, the agents have a lot of the say in whether or not some of these kids play. Do you think because it is a little later, maybe you have less attrition to deal with when we get a little closer to the game, as tends to happen with all-star games, even the Senior Bowl?
No, I don't know, man. I mean, some of these guys, I mean, are incredibly professional. Some of them don't look most public stuff, to be honest with you. And those are the ones you can't reason with. And the ones you can reason with and actually explain the value of this, because, I mean, the best example was Chris Abel. I mean, because they had him as a top of the third, he goes 18. I mean, that's $12.2 million of difference in a 4-year contract. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't have to be flipping Einstein to figure that out. Mm-hmm. I mean, just the difference between pick 10 and pick 5 in the first round on a 4-year contract is $8.5 million. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, so if you think you got a top 10 pick, don't you want to be a 5th instead of the 10th guy? Mm-hmm. I mean, and this is about competition. And the competition's high. I mean, I told the players, I said, look, you play football for a long time. I said, but a lot of the guys that you lined up against are going to be working at UPS in 2 weeks.
Yep.
I said, the ones that are down here are going to be playing on Sundays with you.
Yeah.
So be aware and come down here and understand that you can elevate your draft spot immensely if you do things the right way. And as you guys know, the league wants you to do the process the right way.
Yes.
To show them that you're a professional.
Yep.
Whether it's the interview process, whether it's practice, whether it's how you treat people. I mean, everybody's always watching, And I always like to say, I was damn good at punching holes in everybody. I was damn good at it. But the thing is, what do they do best? Mm-hmm. And where do they fit? This game shows you where they fit.
Yeah.
Because Marcus Ware, we wouldn't have taken him over Sean Merriman if he wouldn't have played this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because he proved that he could play against the big boys. Because he played robot at Troy.
Yeah.
Robot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, Senior Bowl, again, Senior Bowl, all-star games, the pre-draft process is so much about highlighting those things. And then for scouts, confirming what they had either seen or sometimes confirming what they heard. And that goes to the week of process, practice, interview, how they're treating everybody. And this is, one of those first opportunities where outside of their football building, where again, they really have an incentive to sell their guys at, again, wherever, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia. They come down to Mobile. Again, if you're doing things that shouldn't be done or are not doing things that need to be done, again, it usually comes to light fairly quickly. And again, for some players, that's confirming, again, fears that you had or things you heard. And again, it's just all part of the process, not just on the field, but off the field. Interview well, be on time, be listening, be good in your playbook with your coaches and whoever it is. You said you never know who's watching. You also never know who the person sitting across from you knows and is going to be talking to. And I can remember more than one story where it's like, you probably shouldn't say that. You don't know whose best friend is sitting right across from you there. And again, that is a beautiful thing about just the full week down in Mobile. It is close together, and it sounds like, as we talked about last time in August, continued to be again something getting everybody together, having a little bit more togetherness, and just the way the structure and everything is, get scouts back in the building, get people down to Mobile to enjoy this process. That's a huge part of it. Consultants, scouts, obviously, NFL teams, agents, getting everybody back together, really making it open for everybody. Where are you at with that? Again, we talked about it last time. The Senior Bowl is going to be the premier spot, not just for players and agents, but for scouts, anybody that loves ball. How is that shaping up? Are you guys still on track to be where you want to be?
Yeah, I think that everybody that's feedback, and we've gotten all the leagues. I mean, we've sent everything out to the league. I haven't had one complaint about the change in the schedule. Actually, ESPN and NFL Network were actually really, really happy with it because it pushed into prime time.
Yeah.
So their advertising dollars go up. I mean, it's kind of a collateral positive, I think, for a lot of people. And like you said, I think the biggest piece of this that was missing was when I first came down here, this was an enormous networking piece for the NFL. Enormous. And that went away because first of all, people couldn't leave, couldn't go do anything. We're all stuck in interviews all night. And by the time you got done, you didn't want to do a damn thing because you're all beat up from the whole damn day. So now it's like you give the kids time off their feet, you give them time to recover, but you also open this up to where, like you said, now there's people meeting people that they would have never met before.
Right.
And who knows? I mean, they get a job down here. They could get a connection. Like the coaches said, hey, we don't go out and recruit like we did in college, so we don't meet guys. Mm. Well, now they can meet guys off of different staffs, and now you can form relationships and friendships. Just like, when I was recruiting, Kevin Wilson and I got to be incredible friends because we were from the same damn area for 3 years, and it was like it was second nature. But I would have never met them if I wouldn't have been recruiting against him.
Yeah.
So this is a big opportunity, I think, as a whole, whether it's media people, whether it's agents, whether it's, coaches, whether it's personnel. I think it's going to be a benefit for their careers to actually build their network. And I think that's what this is going to become too. I mean, I think it's going to blow up. I think a lot of dudes are going to get a lot better jobs, coming down here.
Yeah.
It's at least get to know other people.
Yeah, no, I mean, the networking, I don't know if we ever have a podcast on here with somebody that doesn't talk about the importance of networking and, again, making it more networking friendly. Again, talked about it in August. We've been talking about it for, it's a positive sign. It's welcome to our ears to hear that. Neil, go ahead.
Drew, you've made a few changes. One thing I think that's undeniable since the stadium has moved from Ladd to Hancock Whitney is that a lot of the teams are staying closer to the stadium. It's about, in the old days, Ladd was about maybe a 5-10 minute drive from the team hotel. Could you see a day when the team hotel switches over to closer to Morgan Hancock as well, just because it's closer and makes it a little bit more logistically positive?
No, just because there's not enough space. Down here, there's at least, 5 to 6 major hotels, that can accommodate, the amount of people that are here. Out there, there's small. It's more, I call that Westmobile cut Barbville. It doesn't have the infrastructure to handle that. It just doesn't. And I know it's not it's not easy, but here's the other thing. I mean, now you can go have lunch before you even get there now, and you go 1:30 to 3:30, get a half-hour break, and then you go grab something you wanted to, but then it's 4 to 6, and then when you're done, you go to dinner. I mean, so it's not like you have to rush back downtown to go interview like you used to.
Right.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge too. I do.
Yeah.
Now, again, it's not a long way. It's just a long way because of the lights.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it's a little longer.
Just anybody that's been driving in Atlanta or LA, and they should be happy to deal with traffic down in Mobile and maybe a few stoplights, because again, certainly better.
Took me 4.5 hours to get from Clemson to the Atlanta airport.
Yeah.
On a 2-hour and 12-minute drive.
Yeah, I've moved away from Atlanta for good reason, so not missing that drive at all. Well, again, the networking is awesome. Again, the game format, everything you're doing, but at the end of the day, the players. Again, it's all about the players. Again, getting the best down there. Again, 65 on the website. You said about 80. Some notable ones. Let's talk about a couple of the players, and we have to start with the guy who can't keep himself out of the headlines for better or worse. Again, a quarterback, mixed opinions on and off the field. Diego Pavia has accepted his invite. He's going to be down there. He's going to have questions to answer on and off the field. Talk about, again, Diego, and again, the excitement around him. And again, probably some of the things he needs to be thinking about prior to getting down to Mobile.
Well, he needs to be thinking about keeping his mouth shut. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
He needs to understand his repercussions for things like that. I'm sure he does, and I'm sure Coach Lee had something to say about it too. Thing is the tape supported him getting an invite.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch him play, I mean, there's some bad decisions here and there, but for the most part, I mean, he manages the game well. He throws it well enough. I mean, he's athletic. He makes plays, and he's productive, and he wins. Bottom line. So, again, do people want to see if he can compete against these guys? Absolutely. And we'll see if he can step his game up, because, again, this is the best against the best.
Yeah.
And, for me, I couldn't sit there and go, okay, when you're watching the tape, you can't say, oh, he ain't good enough, because he actually is good enough to sit here.
Yeah.
He is. So, again, this falls back on me. Do I know where he's going to get drafted? No. But this might actually help him.
Yeah.
I mean, because again, once you see people down here, either they get exposed or they elevate down here. One of the two.
Yeah.
There's really no, even lying for me on any of these dudes in this game ever. And that goes back to, 18 straight years of this.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, a guy like Diego in the pre-draft process, quarterbacks, of course, again, a bigger magnifying glass on him, but this is the first opportunity for most of these guys to start answering questions that NFL teams come away with from fall camp. And again, this is long way away from the last opportunity. Of course, there's going to be combine, pro day, private workouts, visits, all that kind of stuff. But this is the first opportunity to start answering questions that teams have. So again, whether it's his on-field performance absolutely matters. Want to see that. But again, just like we said, all those things that happen in the classroom, and then what happens, when the lights are off and you're off the clock, quote unquote, for players in the evenings or in the morning schedule, all that kind of stuff. So Diego's going to have some great, again, a great opportunity, a talented player. Again, he had Vanderbilt right on the cusp of the college football playoff, and obviously a great team, Clark Lee doing outstanding things there. But again, you could certainly make the argument for them getting in there at the end, and again was right there for the Heisman Trophy. So you can't deny, again, he was a big part of it there.
Yeah. But again, what you just said, Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
It's not your grandfather's Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
He's done a really good job. He was the reason that engine started rolling.
Yeah.
Drew, one of the knocks on Pavia is that I think he lists at 5'10", which means he's probably 5'8" and change. Is height as much of a determining factor maybe as it used to be in the NFL these days, given the way offenses have kind of evolved?
I'd say it probably still is. To say probably maybe 80% of the team still will not take a small quarterback. Being a small quarterback, you can't see. bottom line. And you're always looking for windows. You're always looking for lanes. I mean, it's not easy. Can't see over people. You have to have anticipation. You have to kind of guess where guys are sometimes. You have to know where people are. You have to have anticipation. Some guys have, become successful because, they're in the shotgun and they drop deeper. And, like Kyler Murray, and Victor Mayfield, guys like that have proved that small guys can play. And Victor's been really successful. Kyler's been up and down because he's been hurt, but he's proved that he can play too. So I would say probably 80% of the team still have an aversion, to that. And I get it. And I understand why. Because it was incredibly difficult pulling over the dudes in your 6 for that. Incredibly hard.
Yeah,
it just is.
Yeah, on the height scale, switching from Diego, who again, talent-wise, he's just a great football player. Like, again, forget the rest of it, really good football player, to quarterback down at Arkansas, and Taylon Green, who, again, on the other side, has all the physical tools. Again, big, strong athlete, can really run. He can sling it. Again, Arkansas didn't quite get it done. We're going to see changes there, which, again, great head coach, great GM coming in there to kind of take over that program in Silverfield and Geiska. Talk about Taylon Green and what he brings to the table at that quarterback spot. That's, again, you want to call him developmental, or what can he show down in Mobile?
I don't know. I mean, well, you described him. He's big. He's athletic. He can throw well. The accuracy was up and down, though, for me. And he's very streaky. And he's very streaky in a bad way and a good way. And once he starts rolling, it's really good. And once it starts going bad, it gets really bad. So I think he needs to show consistency. I think he needs to, work on his lower, because most of his accuracy issues come from his platform on his lower. And, whether he's on balance or whether he's driving off the back leg the right way or he's not, the good thing about him is that Bobby Petrino is a very, very good offensive coordinator. And at least he'll understand how to ID a mic, how to change a protection, how to understand his hots, and he'll be a little bit farther ahead than some of these guys. And he'll also have a mouthful of a play call too. While some of these guys are getting everything signaled in, or it's a one-word cue, I mean, they're always behind. Now, it's not overly complicated here, but it does help them when they can run the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
When guys can't run the line of scrimmage, it hurts them.
Yeah.
It hurts them bad.
Yeah, no question. And kind of, somewhere that probably falls in between those guys, again, the third quarterback committed. And again, people want quarterbacks. People want to know who they are. Again, a guy that does a lot of things well, Sawyer Robertson down at Baylor. What is, he throws a nice ball. And again, probably at Baylor, a quarterback that's really, you want to call him off the radar for as far as the national scene goes. What about Sawyer do you really like, and is he going to be bringing down there?
Well, like you said, I mean, I think he led the country in passing yardage. They didn't run the ball very well. He took a lot of shots. They gave up a lot of points, and they were always kind of playing from behind. And there were a lot of times that he brought them back. I mean, his SMU game was one of the best ones I've seen in a while. And it was early, and not a lot of people saw it. But I think they were 21 down, and came back within 8 minutes, and they beat SMU. And SMU wasn't that football team at all. Sawyer's big. He's not as athletic as, Taylon Green, but he's athletic enough to escape. He's athletic enough to climb. But man, he spins it good. I mean, he really does. He's got one of the best touch balls, I've seen. And when he is not getting the hell knocked out of him, he is really, really, really provocative.
Yeah.
Because again, he was taking a lot of shots and he wasn't steady with his feet because it couldn't be. I mean, when it's clean, it's really nice.
Yeah.
He might get a little bit better with his pressure throws, but still, I mean, does some real good things with his arm.
Yeah. Yeah. You always love guys like that going to all-star games where they can, again, NFL teams know about him at 32, have reports, multiple reports on him. But again, to get him
to start to get him some of that national buzz at the Senior Bowl. That's always good for players, again, who deserves it. And again, there's some of those guys you just like to watch. You like to watch the ball coming out of their hand consistently. He's definitely one of those guys. Again,
at the Manning Academy, I saw him there. You could hear it.
Oh, all right.
You know where I'm going?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah.
When you can hear it, it's different.
Yeah. No, that's what you want. We were talking, pre-show off the air again. The Senior Bowl has always been one of those showcase and highlight spots for small school guys. Again, guys that come out there, prove it. Again, from Division III, Division II, FCS, whatever the level is, step up, show on the field. Hey, I belong in the NFL. I belong in this group. Again, Emmanuel McNeil Warren of Toledo is one of those guys. Again, there's a number of MAC players, FCS guys. Again, with it being a smaller pool, because again, those guys are getting poached up a year or two earlier and going to the big programs. Are there some smaller school guys you're still really excited about, and kind of how did that change the scouting landscape for you guys?
Well, I think that it ended up only being about 24 to 25 guys, that we actually would evaluate outside of P4. And it used to be 50 to 75 guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the pool's just shrunk. And it's going to continue to do that because P4 teams are going to come and take them, especially when they, have a position in need.
Mm.
They'll grab a guy and he may end up being a backup or whatever, but they're not there anymore. I mean, even the HBCUs, they're even yanked out of there also. There's some, not small schools, but, Chris Johnson from San Diego State. I mean, love his game. Love his foot speed. I want to see him. I want to see the top end with it. I want to see, Harper's feet. I want to see if he's got that. Charles Dennons, from Stephen F. Big, long corner. The press. I want to see if he can play off man. I know he can play zone. Some of the, like I said, just the smaller schools, there'll be some Mountain West guys in, like you said with Toledo, and then the safety, he fits.
Yeah.
And he's going to be one of those that shows he belongs out here, because he kind of sticks out like a sore thumb sometimes too at Toledo. And not that Toledo's not a good football team and the MAC's not a good, league, but, it's also not P4.
Right.
I mean, it's not. So like I said, there's still those guys out there that I'm still excited about, but are there as many? No, and there'll be a couple more that we can't announce yet because we're trying to kind of creatively invite, one of them, and then we got a lot of juniors that, we can't publicize, we can't take yet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, again, it limits the pool a little bit. And again, there's, like you said, you're still out there. NFL teams are still going to find them. Senior Bowl still going to find them. There's just less of them. And again, that's doesn't say anything other than college football is changing, and that's the way it goes. And you'll keep up, we'll keep up, and still always fun to highlight those players. Again, yeah, the San Diego States, the MAC schools, of course, all your MAC schools. Again, if they fall and qualify as small schools, they certainly have good players at all those. Neil, go ahead.
One of the things that Scott from the American Bowl said was how he had really forged a good relationship with you, and that he would be being pretty aggressive about recommending players. Do you anticipate players from the American Bowl being part maybe of the later invitees after the performance that week?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, and put it this way, I also recommend, guys to the Hula also, because they're both ahead of us. And again, I can't take them all. And again, those guys that, in this defensive end class, there are 8 or 9 guys that I would normally been thrown to death, taking that I can't take. And, same with the tight ends. There's 4 or 5 of those. I mean, I can't take everybody. Right. I want to, but only have room for 140. That's it. Right. And, so again, if there's guys that leave, there's guys that get hurt, put it this way, I'm told that some of the guys that, if they're in the national championship game, they're not coming.
Right.
And guess what? Then who's next? I got to have somebody to fall back on. And the ones I'm recommending are ones I think can actually play.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want their games to be good too.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's enough room for, I think, 3 games, but it's got to be at the right level.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's got to be structured the same way. It's got to be like, here, these guys belong here, these guys belong here, these guys belong here. And that's the easiest way it's going to go. And yeah, I mean, they've been good, and both of them have been good. And hopefully, like I said, somebody performs well enough to come up. And if we lose guys, I mean, I'm darn sure going to snap them up a bit late one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you want. Well, we're as we're sitting here again, about a week, 10 days or so before Christmas. Again, players are signing with agents. We're getting through bowl games, college football playoff. Invites are out. Still waiting on a handful of those, and even just waiting to announce some of those. What do the next couple weeks look like for you, just as you're kind of managing that roster, managing invites, and getting closer to really getting that final roster set?
Well, the problem is I've got to wait. I got to wait for the declaration deadline for the juniors. I can't announce any of those juniors until after they turn the papers in on January 6th, when the papers clear. So that kind of pushes you into holding spots, and hopefully I'm holding the spots for the guys that are actually coming out who are interested.
Yeah.
I don't know that. There's some I don't know that, but there are some that I do know that, if you want to be. And we got to hold those spots. Well, if they decide, say 6 or 7 decide that, I'm not coming out, or, I'm not going to come play, well, then I got to reload again on some of the guys that I hadn't invited yet, that maybe, that 6th, 7th guy in that position, and I'm sure they're going to jump at it because they know how valuable this is.
Yeah.
To their draft spot. So it's going to be kind of tricky, but I see like that January 12th is kind of a reload, kind of a deal, and then maybe just 6, 7 guys, but I think I'll be able to get those guys, to this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just a matter of me just tracking guys and staying in touch with the agents, and and I've been blunt with all of them, and some agents like it, some don't. But I'll tell them, look, I mean, your players are 8 guys out, and I'm waiting on 4, so he's probably not going to make it.
Right.
So take another invite. I
Yep.
mean, do something that's valuable for him.
Yeah.
When it plays well enough, I mean, hell, he may end up here anyway.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, again, that open line of communication, honest communication this time, again, not stringing guys along, but giving them that real answer. Again, that does everybody justice, keeps everybody in the right frame of mind, and allows these guys to make good decisions, which is ultimately what, again, setting them up. Good agents are going to set their guys up, whatever game it is, whatever process it is, whatever time of year. And again, that January 6th deadline is always a big one. As again, some guys, they put it out there, they're going to declare, but like you said, paperwork still has to clear. And again, hands are always tied in that until that time comes. And again, then you got your guys loaded up with the college football playoff, because again, some of those guys coming out of the games beat up. They just decide, hey, if I make it this far, then I'll play. But if I make it maybe one more week, I won't play. So the college football playoff and maybe some of those late bowl games still have to kind of cross your fingers and hope those guys stay healthy through that. But again, going to be the continued roster build out as we get closer to the Senior Bowl. And I know I'm looking forward to it. And everybody getting down there, networking, everything that the Senior Bowl continues to bring, and under new talent, new direction, new leadership. Drew, we really appreciate you being on. Neil, you have anything else for Drew before we bounce today?
Just one, and I know you got to go, Drew. The character piece is as important as it has ever been, and I know that when we think of Senior Bowl players, hey, these are the 140 best prospects that Drew could find out there. How much, if any, does the character? Because I know that you're hearing from scouts, and I know that coaches and etc. Some of these guys have some bruises on the apple, so to speak. How do you deal with that? Do you ever go to a kid and say, listen, you've got some things you need to really show in interviews here? Does it even enter the process for spending a week in Mobile? Is that something that's kind of overblown? And what's your take on that?
Well, I think it's still always important. I'd love to, bring in high character guys if I can. But I also think that some of these kids that have made, mistakes in their life and have built their way back up and become successful and kind of rode their way through it, I think have an opportunity to play and actually, get their story, to the league here, because again, it's better to see that person face to face and hear about that history, than it is, secondhand through somebody that, is at the school or whatever. So again, there are some guys I've given some opportunities to come here and to tell their story, and, there's a running back, you can figure that one out for yourself. He needs to come down and tell his story, and he's accepted. So when I told him, I said, be prepared. I said, just know that you're going to get question after question after question after question, and just face it, deal with it. So,
good. That character piece again never goes away. That report and info on characters always growing from a scout's perspective. And again, great opportunity down there to answer some questions, get that real face-to-face, one-on-one time with scouts, teams, coaches. So all a part of it. Drew, we appreciate you being on. I am looking forward to, again, continuing to see these accepted invites get put out there. Again, for all of those, if you're not already following at Senior Bowl, on Twitter, of course, the Senior Bowl website is going to be the hot spot for all of it. But Drew, I hope you get a little time on Christmas Day, maybe half a day with the phone on silent. But there's no rest on the football schedule this time of year. It's the way it goes. But hopefully, you get a little bit.
It's on silent. I already have 7 right now.
7. All right. Well, we made it. We're at 38 minutes and 7 notifications. So again, you can extrapolate that out and imagine what Drew's phone looks like on a given day. But we appreciate you taking the time with us, and we look forward to seeing you as soon as we can get down to Mobile.
Yeah, look forward to you guys coming down too. You enjoy. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. See you guys.
Agents, before we go, make sure you go check out Agent Live 360. It is at agentlive360.com for everything you need for your agency, from players to coaches, managing profiles, tracking invoices, sending invoices, getting paid, keeping up on every element of your entire agency. Notification emails, file folder storage, ROI, transactions, invoices, calendar, contracts, teams, reps, everything all in one spot for you. That is Agent Live 360. Hop on, request a demo. Yours truly will hop on, walk you through it. I can promise you we will talk some football as well. Sign up now with code TRIAL90 for a 90-day, 3-month trial at just $10 a month for Agent Live 360. That's at agentlive360.com. Go check it out now.